Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett, and we're going to do some coding. And here's some nuts that I have for her. I'll put that in here. I don't know if she's going to want it or not. She got kind of used. Uh, she got kind of used to candy, So now she's like sort of rebelling from the nuts. But Halloween only comes around once a year for a reason. All right, so I'm building my unit test. So my previous video, it was just like a 7-minute video about my web API speech analyzer. I thought I was going to be done with that project like a month ago, 2 months ago. Then a new property showed up, and then I redid that for the new property, and then um, I've run into some deployment issues. And one of the main deployment issue I'm dealing with right now is like routing and sort of like when you route, there's like some small, subtle things that you have to try to figure out. And I'm having a hard time figuring those out right now. And I think the reason was because like you're just not in that frame of mind normally when you're trying to um, figure out uh, when you're trying to deal with deployments. Normally when you're under duress when you're trying to do deployments, so you're not really thinking. But I had come up with there's some tried and true solutions around environment variables and things like that. Um, but the problem for me was that I don't think that's going to be a real problem on this project. Because on this project, at some point, we're going to need to start uploading photos. We're going to need to start uploading textures and fonts and things like that. And we need to have access to those things. Um, and if and I don't expect to just build this application out and put it on its own domain. So it's going to be in a folder. So that means in a remote place. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I'm going to have to figure out some kind of scheme that works regardless of whether it's at the root or whether it's in some folder that knows how to get media um, and other files, static files, basically for the application. It's just a reality, and I'd rather deal with it in that situation because it's gonna be easier. And not only that, but I'm actually gonna have the same issues um, with the other projects that I want to work on, which is a Say Hello project and a um, flashcards project. And both of those, at some point, I'm gonna want to use static resources, and I'm gonna have to come up with something. Um, so that I don't have to like I don't want to have a specific build for every domain that I go out to. So, it's just like let's figure that out. So anyways, so the unit test ran. It looks like they're all passing. If I remember correctly, we do have some coverage issues. Um, all right, so I need to create a new tab and then I need to drag index.html. And then we are going to sort on statements and visualization, services, visualization, entities, and basically this reset all visualizations. Oh, so that was the bigger one? Okay, because we do have another one too. This one should be pretty easy because all we need to do is send in an actual visualization. Now, normally when we do things like this, if it's doing something a little bit more, any at all more complex than this, we'll pass it to a whole function. We'll create this in this for each will create its own little function and call it, but I don't think that's necessary. I think literally all we have to do is give it a visualization. Um, so this is visualization service.ts. So I'm just going to hit Control and P and type in visualization service VIS, and it showed up right there. And I'm just going to close everything else because this is a bit confusing. And, and basically, I want to check that all visualizations get resetted. And see, it's kind of cool because we've already figured out how to make our mock ST visualizations. So we're just going to name this resets all visualizations. Now, again, I've sort of changed my goal for unit testing. Unit testing at one point was like for 100%. I still want that, but I was just like literally all I want is 100%. I don't care beyond that. I've changed my goal in that what I want actually is to um I want to um I want to understand what's going on. I want to make sure that I understand line by line everything that's happening when I come into here. And I think this is very simple, right? Reset all visualization will take all the ST visualizations and it will set them all to their visual component ID to -1. Now, do I have a set? So it looks like what I really want to do. Oh, look, there's a whole nother section. Um, this one, I think I'm going to end up having to pull this out into its own thing, but its own little um, um, function that gets called because it is actually doing stuff to this visualization. But it looks like what I really need to do is actually do whatever it takes to get this visualization component in there. And it looks like it's probably like, is it this one? This visualization set viz component by, nope. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how does this even get in here, right? Like basically ST visualizations get set. This is a directory. How does this directory get anything in it? I mean, it looks like it's just public, so I could just set it. Siblings, right? I could just say that um, mockviz, mock2, mock3, current mockviz. Okay, so I don't think we need this one. Let's just get rid of this. And we don't even care about that. Let's get rid of that. And then I think we could just say this is a service, right? So it names it service. Service dot st visualizations is equal to, and I'm just going to call this visualizations. Now, so our ST visualizations don't even have components, which is fine. Visualizations. Because all this thing is trying to do, okay, yeah, I'm forcing it to be an ST visualization. And then I can say service reset const reset result is equal to service dot reset all visualization components. Now, I guess we could check to see that they all have a visualization component ID of -1. Like, but I guess first things first, I just want to run it and just see. See, it doesn't, it's weird. It does this thing. Oh, okay, it did rerun it. Okay. Now it's all done. Let's reload. Okay, so now that is 100% true, but it is not. So now we're going to say expect. Does this really test anything? No. It just gives us 100% coverage, but I do know that we we I do know that at least starting as of today, if I've written the test for it, I have understood exactly what the code is doing. And I think I undervalued that before. You know, sometimes you just get something and then you're just like, you just have an expectation. Yeah, I'm going to look at the code and understand it. Then I don't even notice when I didn't understand code. I just have this freaking crazy code that I had no understanding of what it was doing. Um, all right, so we got this upsert viz component. Okay, so yeah, this is where, oh yeah, this is where everything just kind of went sideways on us. All right, so basically what happens is this checks to see if a viz component is not attached, and then it goes and checks to see if it has a stale component. And somehow that's all getting called, but now I'm not getting anything that has a stale visualization. So do I understand what's going on? I don't know. I don't think so. Get first stale visualization. I say, hey, if that's there, then call this delete component. Okay, so this is, yeah, we are deleting the old component. And then this one is setting the viz component by, so then this is updating it. And then this, we need to add the new visualization to the dictionary. Okay, so that adds it to the dictionary. This one resets the old one. And then this one actually updates its component ID with the stale visualization. So what's happening is, I believe what's happening here is that Angular, like you changed views, Angular created a brand new component. And now I have a visualization that describes what the component's supposed to look like, but it doesn't no longer has a component because its old component got deleted. So we're handling that here. We're deleting the old component. Or we're saying, hey, you remember your old component ID was like 10? Well, now it's like 12 or whatever. And then, um, so this is removing it from the dictionary because it actually had the dictionary actually has a reference to the component. So we need to remove the old, and it shouldn't be old visualization. That's a bad. So this is line 121. We need to delete the reference to the old component from the dictionary. And then we need to add the new visualization to the dictionary. So we need to add a new reference to the component in the dictionary. And then we need to update the current visualization with the new component's ID. Update the visualizations, ST visualizations, component ID accordingly. All right. so that is what's happening here. So, but like, oh, and I guess it does get called, but I think it would be better. Okay, so what's happening here? So we're saying, hey, we have an old one. Otherwise, we don't have an old one. Okay, so okay, so otherwise we've ended up with a new visualization, but there isn't an old one for it to connect to. So basically, we probably added a new visualization. New visualization was added. So a, but there is not an empty stviz. So a new st visualization needs to. So this is like confusing code. Needs to be added, and you kind of just have to like admit that to yourself. Like, okay, we have code. It's confusing, and this sort of confusing code is almost always like a result of race conditions. So there are things that are happening, and we can't be sure as to when they're going to happen. Um, we do not control exactly when it happens. So you end up with code like this where you're like, I don't know if it's there, do this. If it's not there, then create one. And that's why we had to create an upsert. So upsert is um, a word that says, hey, we're going to create a visualization or we're going to update a visualization if it is. So the viz is a bad word, a bad name, right? So we're going to upsert an st visualization for a component. So basically what happens is when we're at this setup visualization level, we don't understand whether we have a, let me go over here so we can see if it broke or not. We don't really understand whether we're inserting a brand new one or whether we're updating a brand new one. We just have no way of knowing that at this point in time. And so I think right now what happens is like when you click the add button, then you're doing an insert. But when you change views, then you're doing an update. I think those are the two realities. And the thing is what makes this really, really tricky, or the reason we have to go through this, we can't just say, hey, did we add or did we do that, is because we're going to have other ways of bringing things in the future. So we need to make this a little bit more general than like saying, "Hey, oh, now we're doing an ad." Maybe in the because we're probably going to have import and other ways of creating these things. So all right, so now this takes a viz component and a list of viz components, and then it checks to see in the list of components if there is one. If there's one that doesn't have a component ID, right? Let's go look at that real quick. Go to implementation. Right, determines if there's an ST visualization that has a component ID that no longer exists. Okay, so that's what this does. Get first step visualization. So, and just the fact that we have to put so many comments in there just shows that like don't really have a great grasp and a great solution for this problem that we're having to like kind of grasp at straws. But okay, so finds the first visualization that has a reference to a component that no longer exists. And if you're following along carefully, and I don't blame you if you're not, but if you are, you realize that we have come to this conclusion and had to figure this out like at least 3 times, maybe 4 times, and it's coming faster every time because we're setting ourselves up in a position to understand it better. But um, it's still not like obvious, right? So I think that basically, so we're sending the components, and when we pass all the components, and all we're looking for is a component that has a reference to a visualization that doesn't exist. So go to definition. And the way we determine that is we're going through all of our components and we're looking, and I don't know, want to make sure that okay, so the way we're figuring it out is finding out if it's not on the list of ones that exist, so that we're assuming something beforehand came in and deleted it. So like we need a component. This is our viz component array. So we need to create a list of components. I mean, and it's just like I hate the fact that this code is this confusing. Um, and I just can't think of a better way to do it. And I'll definitely obsess and try to come up with a better way to do it. But and I've worked in a lot of places where like they spent a tremendous amount of time on the unit tests, and that the best documentation for any given function was the unit test. You go look at the unit test and it explained everything. And I think that's what we have to do here. Um, so tests upsert for create, right? So we're gonna create a function, and this is kind of crazy because like I'm like literally changing. Um, so and this thing tests upsert for create, and then basically so we create a function, we pass it a function, we've created. What did I do wrong? It's weird. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, it's because I'm inside of this this other spec. Okay. So we want where is the end of this spec? Looks like it's right here. Oh, so that is right. So and then the it takes 2 parameters. One is a string, and the other, and you put a comma in between them, and the other is an array. I mean, a function. And I don't quite understand what's going on here. What? Okay, so is that one? I don't think that one's supposed to be there. Okay, yeah. So we had an extra closing parenthesis. All right, and so this one checks tests upsert for a new for insert. And we're just going to say creates a new ST visualization. All right, so then I guess this is our opportunity here to kind of explain what's going on. Okay, so when a new component is created before the ST visualization, and maybe this shouldn't even happen. Maybe that's the problem. Before the ST visualization has been created. A new ST visualization. Must be created. All right. So somehow we've ended up with a brand new component, but there is no ST visualization for it. Right. So let's come back over here and just kind of make sure that walk through this. Okay, so we did not create. Oh, okay, and we actually say when we created a new one here. So this right here, we're updating it. So we did not create. So we expect to get a true back. In either case, we do want to set it to attached because we never would have got here if we won't get to this line. Like this is, it's not attached. It's not attached to anything. So we have a component that has not been attached to an ST. So we know that. Okay, so of a new component. It has not been attached to a ST visualization. So a component knows whether it's been attached or not. So there's that. And then if it comes in and it's like, hey, I'm a component, I haven't been attached to anything. Okay, well, is there an ST visualization that needs to be attached? Yes or no? This means yes. This means no. Okay. So then we're trying to test the no, and somehow we would know that it's created, but I guess we wouldn't really need to worry about it because um, we'll know that it was true. Now, I don't know, like once we get in here, if there's some sort of dependency on our. I don't think so. It looks like all this thing probably does is, well, it actually creates a brand new visualization, but it looks like all it needs is a component ID and a component, and then it'll create the visualization for us. And we're not doing like an integration test. We're only testing this thing so we expect to see a true. And if this works or not is the job of the unit test for this working or not. So now, so in order to be able to do this, basically, I think it's okay if. So this has to get called. This get first stale visualization has to get called in, and it is going to get an array, and it probably can be an empty array. So we can pass in an empty array here, and that will basically mean that it is never in a component there. So let's go ahead and create a mock component. Mock viz. No, we need a mock component, not a mock. Okay, so we need one of these things, a viz component. Do we have a viz component? Well, we're bringing it in. It looks like we create one. Here, okay, so here's our mock viz. And we actually create a mock element. I don't think we need the element. You know what? If we do need an element, I want to know. Oh, and then we have our visualization. This is an ST visualization, though. Okay, so that wasn't right. So there's where we create a viz component. Viz component, fixture debug. Oh, wow. That's pretty crazy. That is so crazy. Okay, so this is debug element. Oh, that's neat. Okay, let's see if we do anything anywhere else. There's like 21 of them. This is really cool, though. I don't remember doing that, but that's cool. Viz component. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, it's the same thing. Oh, wait. Okay, so for some reason we can do it here. Is it because do we do it before each? Is that why does that shouldn't work? So here it should set up a DOM visualization. Viz component is equal to fixture debug element children 0. Okay, so basically, I don't know what in the world we did here. Fixture debug. So fixture is, oh, what is that? Okay, so I think we can right click on this and go to definition. Okay, that was not what we wanted. Where does fixture get defined? Here. All right, so we created a host component up here, test host component. So we just created just a generic component. And that component has an element on it. And for some reason, we were able to declare it as a viz component, but I don't think it is a viz component. But let's just go with this. And I cannot. It's crazy. So right now, this is so fascinating, so interesting to me that I don't even care about the project anymore. I'm like just absolutely fixated on how this unit test is working and what's happening and all that. That is not a good thing for an actual true project that, you know, investors have invested in and people need to get out there, right? Like this is a science experiment and this is a YouTube channel and that is this is what I've seen happen in a lot of places with unit tests. I've seen the unit tests completely derail and prevent the project from ever succeeding because everyone gets fixated on the unit tests because they're freaking fascinating. Um, okay, so we have a viz component. We created a new viz component. I don't think it's actually a viz component. I think what it is an actual. I don't know what it is. What is this fixture thing again? I just went up there and tried to figure it out a second ago. Okay, I'm gonna go very top and just search on. See, we created a, well, oh, okay. So we created a component. We actually created a, oh, it is a viz component. Okay, so we actually created a viz component, an app viz with a renderer ID of 1. Oh, okay, but we called it test component. And really, I don't know why I should have called it test viz component. Right, because that's what this is. This is a test viz component that we created. And I'm guessing when I did that, I didn't really, like I just asked ChatGPT, hey, help me out with this, and it gave me this name. And I didn't really understand what was going on, but it got me where I needed to be. Okay, and so then before each one of them, we actually create one of these test viz components. And that's why it's called fixture, which I don't think is a great name for for this thing. I'm assuming something else is broken down in here. I don't see anything. So before we create one of these, we actually do create a actual, we mint out an actual viz component. That's why this works. And it's got an ST. Okay, so this has an ST viz ID. Okay, so in this case, we have a viz component, but there is nothing in the IDs. So const um, ST visualizations, and that is an array of ST visualizations. And that is equal to an empty array. So now we have a function that we call, and that function that we want to call, and that function is called upsert. And we want to pass it in an index of, I guess, it's kind of interesting because you couldn't actually, if you would not be able to actually call this if viz components was empty. That is actually not possible because I don't think so. Oh, no, no, it could. Viz component, no. So this is going to look for stale and it's going to pass in the viz components. So viz components can't be empty. It couldn't be empty because um, this is iterating over the viz components. But we're looking for a viz component that isn't in this list, and this list should be empty, right? So if we go back in here again, go to implementation, it's looking in our ST visualizations. But our ST visualizations should be just an empty array right now in our test. Okay, so that is the thing is, so actually this is supposed to be visualizations, and this is an array of these things. And it has one of these in it. I believe we can just, what do we do? I think we can just go like this and say viz components. And then we're going to call, I can't even believe how much I don't care that the project isn't moving forward right now because I'm just so fascinated by this. It's just really interesting. Okay, so then this is a service. So in this service, we're going to call this. And this is like one of those things where it's like a crucible, right? Like I was watching this movie about, or yeah, this TV series about the Marines, and apparently they have this thing that's called a crucible. A crucible is a thing that like will change you. And I feel like spending a good amount of time obsessing and working hard on unit tests is like a crucible. It will change you, and it will change you for the better, I think. But it it does not. It's not good for the project. Um, so like I think that like the equivalent in the Marines would be like, let's say you're going to a battle, you do not want to put your Marines through a crucible before the battle. You want to put your Marines through a crucible while they're training, not while they're going to a battle. Um, and I guess that's sort of the equivalent here is like going through a crucible right now. Like the way I code and the way I think about code is changing right now as we do this, but this is not good for this project. This is really bad for this project. So, so the very first thing is the viz component. The second thing is the index. So this is the 0th index. And then the third thing is the visualizations. And I guess I should call them viz components. And then viz components. And since there's nothing in the ST visualizations, what we want is for our viz component to be, we want this to be true. We want to return a true. That means it created a new one. Now we could check to see if the viz components, and that might actually help with understanding, but const updated, no, created. I'm just going to add a little returns true if it created a new ST visualization. And then we expect created to be true. Like I once worked at this place and we basically had to wait like 6 months before we could actually do any work. We would have to get like a serious like um, background investigation. So it took like 6 months. See, that would have been the time to put developers through a crucible, through like a heavily unit tested application where they really had to understand how things work and all that. And then once we work in the application, be like, oh, okay, now they're different. Okay, so nothing failed, so that's a good sign. And now we're hoping that, oh shit, so this one was actually already being tested, so this won't even help. Um, now, I think what we would expect, let's just do this. So we're going to expect dot st, oh, and then service dot st visualizations dot length to equal, oops, zero. Let's see if that all passes. I think that's going to pass. I don't know if it ran though. Okay, Yeah, it's running. Okay, so that passed. Now, I think we expect this visualization length to equal 1 because it created one. Right? So when it did the upsert, there should be one more than we started. I'm hoping. Okay, so that's good. That's actually very nice that um, we actually understand what is actually happening. Now, now we want it to test that upsert updates an existing ST visualization. So that means we have to create an ST visualization that has like an ST ID that doesn't exist. So and for a insert and insert. I think it's an insert for an update. Update. And it modifies an existing ST visualization. Okay, so when a new component is created, but there is an existing ST visualization with an old component ID, with an old, component ID, then the old ST visualization should be created with the new ID. All right, so let's try this. Okay, I think we still need all of this stuff, but we do want like a mock viz. And we want it to have like a component ID that doesn't exist. So, and I think -1 is actually something that we end up like we do reset them all. So we want this thing to have an ST, no, a component ID, a viz component ID. I think it's a viz component ID. Can't remember. I'm going to go look at the definition real quick. Yeah, we need a ST viz component ID. I don't know why I named that ST viz component ID. I guess because it's for the ST. Maybe, a better name probably would have been like Angular component. No, it's our kind of ID that we create. So no, I think this is right. Okay, so now it has a component ID of -1, which is exactly what we do when we call that reset. It sets all of these to -1. Now we have a component. Okay, so we want our services. And I don't know what I think of this. I don't like this, but I've done it all the time, so I have never really found a problem with it, but there probably is a problem with it. Um, ST equals this is not mock viz, this is mock stviz. And I only plan to have one of them, so. And like I'm doing all of that because like if you watched me work on these things before, I was just like, I just want to get 100%. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. Now I'm like, okay, I want to understand exactly what's going on. When I'm working in unit testing, my job is to obsess about every line of code and to understand everything. Um, so, okay, so now we expect it to equal 1. And we still expect it to equal to 1 when we're done. We want it to update this one. And I guess we want, well, okay, let's just go step by step. Let's just see if that first thing, I like to have wins. I think it's healthy to have a win. Um, so the very first one should absolutely work, right? We have one thing in our ST visualization and we want it to have one thing. We added one thing, it was empty. We created a new one. We added it. Let's see. Reload. Okay. And we got our, I think we should have 3 warnings now, but I don't know. All right. Now we want to run this and not have anything break, and we would like to see all of this code go to green when we're done. So I don't know. I don't know if that's all going to work, but it is currently red. Hit save. See if this runs again or if we have to force it. Nope, it's running. Everything passed, so that's good. And those are green. And that feels good. I can see why people like that. Okay, so now we expect created to be false. Actually, it should have updated. It shouldn't have updated one. So it should have stayed at false. I still think this code is confusing and difficult to understand, but I think we're doing a lot better. And we expect this to 1. All right, so that's good. He's good. We have 1 untested function, 3 untested line, no untested branches. So we have a function that is not being tested. Where are you? Where are you? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Delete visualization for renderer ID. So apparently this takes a component ID and then it goes to this delete visualizations in this actual function, which we are testing. So I guess we don't, I don't know. I don't know if we should dig into what delete does or just have faith that it works. Well, okay. So let's see if I can stick to my goals. So Control F, delete visualization for renderer ID. I want to understand what every line of code does. This is the point in time for that. So okay. So basically all this does is call this filter visualizations. Oh, okay. So it goes through, it finds this visualization and then it updates this visualizations with that one. So, okay. So this visualization should have something in it. And when we're done, it shouldn't have anything in it. So I guess what we want to do, okay. So I want to understand this. So we're turning over a new leaf. We're doing things differently. I don't know if I'm going to stay with this because unit tests are already taking way too much of the time. But you know, I am starting to see incredible value in like for personal growth in doing these unit tests. So I'm going to stick with them. But I definitely at this point would strongly advise against like against making unit test a part of a project. I think that is a mistake for the project. Not 100% sure on that, but that's where I stand right now. Okay, so we want to, where are you? Okay, this one deletes a component, deletes the past in component from ST visualizations. Okay, so this one is going to have the 1, right? We know that the component, when we create the mock component, it creates a component with a value of 1. So remember that this component has an ST visualization ID of 1. All right, so we're deleting it. We want to delete it from that. So I think this is all the tests that we want it to be. And then service, and we're going to delete component for ID. I don't even know if this is going to be a sort of something that I stay with, or if at some point I'll sense that what is this thing? Return found. Okay. Okay, and apparently found is going to be -1. So that is definitely confusing. We should probably go back and fix that. This is the time to fix something like that. So if it finds something, let's see what delete. Okay, so this returns a Boolean. Return, but this is not a Boolean, I don't think. I think this is actually a, what the heck is going on here? Okay, delete visualization ID. Oh, this is the filter. Okay, this is just the filter. Okay. Return. Okay, so this is actually, okay, this returns an array. So basically, and this is not what we're calling, this gets called Control F. This. Okay, so this is, okay, visualizations. Const visualizations colon st visualizations array. That's equal to that. And then visualizations. Okay, so this was supposed to return like a found, but I'm going to change this to a number. And then I'm going to return the length of visualizations. So basically, if it's 0, that means that there are no more left. And we can test that by, like, I think our visualization length should be 1 when we start. Let's come back here. And I think that was we already have that, right? Yeah, so we expect the visualizations to be equal to 1. I don't know. Let's get rid of. Okay, so I think everything's passing. We are not calling our function yet, so we don't expect any change in here. It was a change because we changed the code a little bit, but okay, so this is just a comment, so let's uncomment our comment. And now this is now uh, components count, viz components count. And we expect our viz component. Oh, okay, so this will actually take care of this and make it 100% if nothing breaks. Feel better about this one. I could, still screw things up, but I feel better about it. Okay, yeah, now we're at 100%. Now we expect the viz component count to be 0 because all this does is return the number of records in there. And it's kind of nice. Like, honestly, I didn't have that level of understanding in the past of just every nuance and every detail of what's happening. So I like this is a better feeling, I think. Okay. And now we expect the visualization's length to equal 0 now, right? Because it should have deleted it. Now, I probably won't be able to understand this as deeply when I come back now that I think about it, because the thing is like remembering how this host or this visualization component thing. So it's kind of funny because, okay, so viz components is this. Oh, okay, so we don't even need this one. We don't need the list of components for this test. We do need the viz component, right? Oh, we don't even need the viz component because all we need is the ID, and we know that the ID is 1. Okay. And not only that, but yeah, it doesn't look like we actually even need that complexity. Because all we're trying to test is that it removes this one from, I don't know. It doesn't seem like we need that component because well, A, it was showing that we didn't need it because it was dimmed out. All right. So we create our mock viz, we give it a viz component of 1. It doesn't even matter what we turn it in. We just got to make sure that we do that we use the same one. So it's probably in our best interest to, for our future selves, if we need to come back in here, to um, actually pass it in this way. So it'll be a little easier probably to come up to speed in the future of what we're doing. Oh, well, no, that is 1. That is actually the number 1. It's this one that needs to be. Oh my God. Talk about me really confusing the heck out of myself in the future. Okay. And we don't need to remember this. Okay, so it was just set. The st array. And then that runs it. Okay. So that's good. Now we still don't have, I think we have 100% in this file now, but we do not have 100% throughout the whole application. There's still something. We have 4 lines that are uncovered. We have one branch that's uncovered. It's when I see the branches that I go, ugh, this is going to be a problem. And there's the guy. Animations. Let's see. This is our troublemaker. I just got a text. Let's see what we got going on here. Although I don't. Yeah. Oh no. It looks like my wife is stuck in traffic. It's Sunday at noon, and my wife is sitting stuck in traffic on Interstate 285 around. It's a perimeter interstate that goes around Atlanta, Georgia. Um, and I guess there must have been an accident or possible. Sometimes it gets shut down because we get a lot of like the president, vice president, very high up people uh, coming in, and they'll shut the highways down when that happens. But anyway, so animation service. Okay, so I have this console log in here for myself. So we are not testing any of this stuff. Viz component. I bet you we are going to need to create one of these hosts, one of these guys, a component instance, so then we can, but maybe not. Um, Viz component service. So this, I think, is a good example of where we want to pull this out. And I think the reason we want to pull this out is because, like, I want to isolate the getting something from some external piece from the actually doing work on something piece. So I do think set position needs to call this function that does this, and only because and passes in this, and only because I don't really want my unit test if it's going to go to like another. And I'm kind of making this up as I go right now. Um, but if I'm going to go to another entity like this Viz component service, I don't want that being mixed. If it was oh, well, it is, oh no, yeah. If it was just like a function that was on here, it'd be different. But since it's going off someplace else, I think I would rather separate those two. So I want to pass it. So I want to just call this a function that does this. So let's do that real quick. Animation service. Close others. And then okay, so yeah, so we want to separate this function out. And let's just make sure things work right now. I know we do have a problem with resize. Yeah, so everything seems to be working. So we'll just leave it as is for the moment. Like I said, I know resize is not working. Well, I don't know if it's working in this situation or not. Oh, so that's working. But just when we on the edit, when we're in update mode. So when we're in this mode, I'm pretty sure we had this working at some point, but maybe not. Maybe that never worked. Don't know. We'll know, we'll know that for sure whether it worked or not when we have the unit tests testing and seeing if we actually tested that or not. I don't know. But I would, if we don't have an end-to-end test for it, I'm committing. I'm committing everything. And we fix that delete issue, I'm going to commit everything. Um, And then that'll be the bug that I'll work on next, is getting this to resize whenever we're here. And like I said, it may never have worked. I don't know. But we do know that in here on line 153, we have some code that we want to refactor. This code. And basically, we want to just pass in a viz component and then do this logic in here. So I'm just going to call this set position for component. And I'm going to call it a viz component. Try to be as precise as possible. And this will also accept a viz component. And that is a, wait. Okay. Oh, so this goes and gets its viz. Okay, so this is actually getting our viz component. So this, I believe, is a viz. Is it visualization component? No, it's a viz component with a Z. And this is going to, I guess, return a boolean. And basically, we're going to say was set let was set, and we're going to say that is equal to false. And then return was set. And I don't know what this thing's problem is. Is your problem? Maybe it doesn't have it. And I guess we hadn't imported the class definition. So now I want to do this. Apparently I named it viz. Oh, so we need the ST visualization as well. This is weird. So this is supposed to be an ST visualization. It gets that component from the, oh, okay, so that's how it gets this side, but it gets this side from the actual ST visualization. And that code is confusing. It wouldn't be confusing if everything wasn't so confusing. Make that lowercase. And now we want to get it from the ST visualization, which I think is much, much less confusing than viz. Okay, what is the problem? Saying that this, oh. Visualization. All right. All right. So now we just want to call this instead of, and I want to name this ST visualization. I'm going to do that first. And this becomes S. Well, we don't even need this anymore. I just want to call set position. For okay. I don't know why this isn't working, but let's just copy this whole thing. And again, this is going very different for me because this is weird. Okay, because like I'm like desperately trying to understand everything now. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to make sure that I obsessively understand every detail of the code that's happening here. One. All right. So theoretically, we should have this. All of this code should be down here, and this should work. I think it's still trying to build. I don't know. Maybe it didn't build. Kind of feels like it didn't build. It didn't run the unit tests that time. Okay, yep. So this all moved down here. So now we just need to pass it in a component, a viz component with a native element. Um, and I think it's very clear. It's very easy to understand what this code is doing down here. So, um, so that's good. Um, okay, so where are we at? So we have this. This is the only function that I'm just trying to figure out where we're at for next time. And I think we still have a couple of of vision like yeah functions that we uh, visualization gets, visualization has no expectation. Oh, so in our visualization service and in our animation service, we have two functions that don't have any expectations. One is visualization, animation should set position of the style. Okay, so this actually, let's see, is in here. It should be in here. It should be in here. All right, so this guy is not doing anything right now. And I think it's because when I was working on it, I couldn't understand what it was doing. I actually think, okay, so yeah, that's good. So this actually is already doing some of this stuff now. So yeah, and that was the thing is I didn't want to have to call visualization service to get something to happen. So that this, so now I can just create a viz component. Um, and this is not. This is so weird. I'm in animation service and this didn't even call anything in animation service. It only called stuff in the visualization service. So we don't even want, oh, sir. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Service set position for the mock viz, but we don't want to call set position. We want to call set position for viz component. This is animation service. I'm looking at animation. What am I doing wrong? Dot set for viz component. And the first thing is supposed to be our actual mock viz component. And the second is supposed to be our mock viz. And that really should be mock stviz. And then I guess we want it to be 100 and 200. It seems like that's still good. So that takes care of 2 stones with 1 rock, hopefully, or 2 problems with 1 rock. Two problems. Yeah, I don't know. Because I think we already handled all this sort of stuff. Okay, so we never do call set position, and all we have to do is call it with a visualization. All right, so we just want to do service dot set position, and we want to send that the actual ST visualization. So that's our mock ST viz. And all of that's nice and tight and tidy. And now we're just waiting for the test to run. And that's that. Now we've got, this is 100%. Now we've got something. Oh, we're 100% all over the place. So now we just have 1. Let's go ahead and clean this up. So as you can see, I didn't go through all the totally understanding what all the tests did, but I did totally understood what every line did. And I think that is there's a differentiating, right? Like you kind of, as a side effect, if you understand the details, nitty-gritty details of what every test does, and that you test all the things, then you understand as a side effect. But I actually don't want to do it as a side effect. I want to actually understand every line of code directly. All right, so now I think we have 1 expectation. In our visualization service, it gets a visualization for a component. Let's go see what that is doing. And that's this guy right here. So I just searched on the last part. If you don't, it'll, like, it does something else. Hey girl. All right. So we got rid of this because we expected stviz. We're doing a bunch of stuff. We create a mock element. We create a mock viz. And then we run this stuff. And so let's go see what this thing is trying to do. We're trying to test get st visualization for component. So let's go in this view, and we know it's the next file over. Control F. So this is the guy. Creates a finder function. Okay, so all this thing does is create a function, right? It returns a function. No. Interesting. So this thing actually returns either. Okay, so it takes the visualization, it takes the ST visualization, it applies this find function to it, and then it returns an ST visualization. That is some abstract and confusing stuff. So all right, so if we turn this thing to true, I love you too. Okay, so now let's kind of walk through this thing. Okay. Nope. Thought I was walking. Well, okay, so this is in visualization. I think is it entities? This is in entities, visualization service. entities, visualization service. Okay, and then this is trying to run get visualization for component. This guy right here. And basically what it does is it creates a function based on the component that you just sent in. And then it uses this function to look into the viz, stviz. Okay, so we minted out this function and we sent in the viz component. So that's the actual component, the Angular component. And then inside of that, it returns a function, and that function's only thing it can do is it can accept a viz component, and it can return an st visualization. It takes the viz component, an st visualization. Oh, okay. It can accept an st visualization, or returns a function that can accept. Oh, and then it can tell you if it's matched. Okay. So it can be like, hey, here's a st visualization. Does it match the component that I was created with? Okay, so over here, get st visualization, it creates a component. No. Okay, this thing gets created, and then it accepts a component st visualization, then it creates a component for the viz component, and then it uses that component. It creates a function for the viz component, and then it uses that function to see if the st visualization, and it takes a whole array of st visualizations. Okay, so it takes a component and a list of st visualizations. So what's our component? Okay, so this is our component. Okay, and then this is our list of st visualizations. So it takes both of those. It takes that, and then it returns the correct st visualization. So our component is from our picture. So, and it has an st ID, st visualization ID. So that might be our problem, is we're using renderer ID instead of visualization ID. And st. So this is not supposed to be renderer ID. I think this is supposed to be visualization ID. So we had a problem, right, where I was very confused because I thought I was using a renderer ID or a visualization ID, but I was actually using a renderer ID. Everything got really screwed up. Okay, so this is our st visualization ID, right? Or is it our st component? Go to definition. It's this thing, st viz component ID. That is one. We don't even have a, oh, we do have a renderer ID. I think this is supposed to be, well, we create a renderer. Okay, so I don't know about any of that. I don't think we need any of that, but ST visualization ID 1. So we know that when we create this component, it has a ST visualization. It's not visualization ID though, it's component ID. ST viz component ID. And this could be wrong. That actually, now that I think about it, might actually be wrong. Because it's looking for, I think it may actually be looking for the wrong. Let's look over here. Ah, yeah, see, this is looking for the render. So this is actually, I think, a bug. So I think this is a bug. You need to look for component ID. ST. I think that's what it is. It's this thing. Oh, ST viz component ID. And I think that may be the root of some of the problems that we have right now. Now, I'm afraid to really dig deep into that one, but I don't know that tomorrow will be a better day for that anyways. Um, see, I'm looking for, yeah, I don't know if I need the actual renderer ID. I don't, shit, I might need the renderer ID because we're in the animations and it does use the renderer. So we may, yeah, this might be, yeah, I definitely don't understand everything that's going on. Okay, so let's go back in here. Find component factory function. ST visualization. Get ST visualization for a component. So this is supposed to get, all it's supposed to do is get the visualization. That's its only job based on the name. So if that's its job, then it needs the component. I don't think knows the renderer ID. It knows its component visualization ID. Yeah, so pretty sure this is supposed to be wrong one. And this is supposed to be viz. Control Z. And let me do this. Go 1 second. Hey babe, I'm recording right now on my video so they can hear you. What's up? No, I'll wait. I'll wait for you. Love you. Bye. Sorry about that, everybody. Looks like she got out of traffic, so that's good. All right. So now I don't know if this test even works. I do definitely think I don't really have time to dig all the way into this thing, but let's see. I definitely want to take a deeper dive into this, so I'm kind of hoping it's broken, but I'm also kind of hoping it's, oh no, so we do have our one failed test, and that's this, and I don't really know why. We pass in our viz list, and we pass in our component, and we do have a component that has that, and it returned an undefined, so couldn't find it. So I think I'm going to have to fixate on this test. So I think we could type in F, but then we have to restart. And this does take a minute. And then I think I'm going to have to call it quits and kind of do a deep dive into this tomorrow and figure out. And then the other thing is like, did it actually break the code? Because it may have. Would surprise me. No, I don't think so. I have to admit, I'm a bit surprised. Okay, so we have one broken test. This is what we're looking at now. So that is, I think, what we'll focus on tomorrow. So that'll give me some time to upload this video and sort of work on that. I would just like I would expect this to return a component, this function to return a component, because I know, let's do this. This is kind of fun. Okay, so let's do this. Expect viz component dot stviz component ID, and we expect that to equal 1, right? 1. And I guess we probably should comment this out for the moment. I just didn't want this to slip through the cracks. That was the main thing. 1 success. Yeah, so that did in fact equal 1. And now this, oh wait, is it the wrong one? Oh yeah, so this is supposed to be viz component ID. And I do feel like I'm getting a better understanding of all of this stuff. I do want to clean this test up though and get rid of like the renderer ID stuff and all that, because I do think it is a bit of a distraction. I don't think the renderer ID matters. I don't think any of that stuff at the beginning matters. Actually, okay. And I do feel like I understand all this stuff a lot better, so I don't think we need this. We might actually be back to Cypress tomorrow. And if that is the case, and if I didn't have a Cypress unit test for resizing update view, and maybe I never did, maybe I didn't get that working yet. So it looks like we are truthy again. Everything's working. Let me get rid of this renderer ID here. I don't even think we need to create a renderer. Looks like we need this. Yeah, we actually, yeah, that was a huge error. Like going off a renderer ID was a horrible mistake that caused a lot of issues. Okay, so now let's get rid of this fit. And I think we are done with unit testing. And I do think that, yeah, I do feel good about like unit tests are sort of a crucible type of situation. It's not a, I don't know, I would never, like if I was put in charge of a project right now, and I don't think I would have them I would have the developers build unit tests for things. You know, I mean, I would definitely want everybody to be into unit testing and like it, but I don't think it's good. I think it's good for the developer. Don't think it's good for the project. Just I'm staying with that. That's what I believe. All right, so I gotta go. We will, I guess, shift over where it at. I guess I need to do one last look at this thing before I call it a day, before I declare victory here, because it looks like we have 100%. Yep, we have 100% coverage, and I do feel like I understand that log error trying to render a deleted renderer. Yeah, those are weird. And then this is because we do have some issues with, or have they resolved themselves? I don't know, they may have resolved themselves. I think I still have a little bit of time, so I'm going to do a quick run Cypress open. And let's go ahead and close this up and come over here. Okay, that's the actual application. I swear, every single day I look at something and I'm like, man, I would love to build that. Like, I don't know if you've seen like there's like TikToks of people like where they all have like jackets on with different colors and they just do. It's like it would be so cool to do that. Like sometimes you have it, like in ThreeJS, like have things flipping around. There would be like it'd be cool to like emulate a building, and you know how like for the holidays they like to have the lights flash on and off and stuff like that to do like animations and all the windows in the buildings. Like you could emulate that. Um, there's these new things that they're selling on TikTok where it's like a spinning wheel, and then they have like little lights on there, and like you could there's like depending on where the lights are on and off while it's spinning, like you could it makes different drawings and stuff like that. It's like you could emulate that. They probably even have that in a language like that you could download, and you could probably actually find the ones that they have and and run it directly. And I mean, there's just so many things you could do, but we got to get this freaking thing working first. We got to get like sort of the underlying platform working. All right, so delete is where there was a problem. Just see if there's still a problem. It wouldn't surprise me if it got fixed. Actually, it wouldn't shock me if this got resolved when we did this. Come on, come on, delete. Yeah, here's where we run into issues for some reason. All right, so that is still that is what we'll be working on first thing tomorrow, I think, unless something else in all of these shows up. Now, resize, I think, is all of the where we might run into an issue with the or look or update maybe. Flow. Okay, we know delete has got a couple issues in there. Okay, so yeah, I never did test this, so maybe I never coded that. So that probably should be like I don't even remember. Like I think we are all the way through all of the like okay, once we fix this delete thing, um this delete issue, we're all the way through, I think. And we're all the way through all of the rabbit holes. We went down one rabbit hole after another, and I think we have completely taken it. So we'll do the commit once this is squared away. See, it's looking for this guy here. App viz equals 1, 400. Oh, it's like there's still an app viz there, but there's nothing in it, right? Like, and I think that's supposed to be gone, but it says there's 3 of them. It says it has this one. Yeah. So, anyways, that's what we're going to try to figure out tomorrow. Is what's going on because we do only have 3, but for some reason it thinks that it's well 1, 2, 3. But see, I have one here. I do have 3, but for some reason it's looking at this spot here, I think. See, and it's supposed to have a value of 400, which I think is this one right here. So this is 0, 200. Maybe it's this one, 400. Oh, no. Okay, but it found 600. So it actually, for some reason, now number 1 is moved over to 600 instead. So it was kind of, this was 1, 2, and 3, or 0, 1, and 2. But for some reason now it's 0, 2, and 1, which I don't think like is an actual bug. I think that is just a timing issue. Like for some reason, Angular is building out things in different ways, or maybe my logic changed. Like I changed the logic, so now the way it used to grab and filter or get whatever it was going to update things. So I don't. I think literally all I need to do is change this to 600. I expect the next one to be at 600, not at 400, because I don't care, and I do not care about the order. Maybe I should, but at this point, I would rather just fix this thing and move on with my life, which I think then once we have this fixed and committed, then the next thing will be the resize. I do think it's time to do the resize of this when you're here and you resize, it should resize this thing up here. I think it's time to work on that. And then once that's done, then we're kind of back. If that doesn't cause a whole bunch of other things, then we're back. And I want to have the ability to change from, see how this has given you all the space that you could possibly work with. I want to be able to say, no, show it to me in its size, in its proper size, not maxed out size. I want to be able to pop that out. And I think, um, I don't know if I already have. I think I have a div in here that I want to do that in, and sort of slowly start working back through to CRUD because I do think delete is squared away now, and I don't even freaking want to deal with detached nodes or think about memory leaks or anything for at least a little while. I've had enough of that. Anyways, that is that. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.